Hello and welcome to Learn Data. It's great to have you on this channel. I'm Nilesh and in this video we'll continue learning about pandas. In the previous video we looked at the intuition behind how GroupBy works and also looked at how we can do a simple GroupBy. In this video we are going to dive a little bit deeper into the GroupBy function and see how we can use the sort within GroupBy, and also look at how we can find how the groups are created within a GroupBy. So what are the final groups in the GroupBy object. We'll also look at how to use GroupBy in a multi-index data frame, and then how we can combine both row indices and column names in a GroupBy. So by row index I mean the name of the row index column. Finally, we'll also look at how to select a group from a grouped object and how we can iterate over a grouped object. So let's get into Jupyter notebook and start coding. Here I've already created a new notebook and imported two libraries, NumPy and Pandas. And for data frame, this is the same data frame from previous video. We are going to use the indices later on, and then we have this additional data frame df2 that we'll use in a sorting command. So the first item then we can look at again is sort within a GroupBy. As we saw in the previous video, the GroupBy command automatically does sort the data set in the output. So let's see how we can set it to false if we need to. This is the data frame we have, df2, which has two columns, m and n. Now if you do a GroupBy, so df2.GroupBy, and if we do a GroupBy on just the column m and get the sum for this, in the output we can see that the groups within the column m are sorted from B through Z, and if we want to avoid this behavior we can specify sort is equal to false as here. So if you specify sort is equal to false, the original order here that is in the data frame is maintained, where Z is first followed by Y and then followed by B, and that's what we see here in the output. Another method that we can look at here is how to get groups from that particular group object. Let's say if we save the object in the variable G, and if you say df2.GroupBy, and here if we specify the column which we are grouping on, which is column M, now that's the object we have. And if you look at the groups, we get these are the groups, so B, Y and Z. Now we could pick a particular group from this and perform any operation. So we could say g.get_group, and if we specify Z as the group that we need, then this is the output we get. So we actually pulled part of the data frame which has the group as Z in the column M. And if we can also go a step further and perform any statistical function on it, we can run on it, so such as sum, and here we now have this GroupBy as value. So m it concatenated it, but if we look at n, we do get a sum for that particular value. And here if you specify n, then you just get the value for the column n that is summed over. Now moving on, let's look at how we can again use GroupBy using the row indices. So for this we are going to use the data frame df. So let's look at attributes, and this is the data frame that we have here. We are going to go ahead and set the indices. So df dot index is equal to index. And now if we look at df, we do have the multi-index for the data frame. Here if we store the grouped object in the variable g, we would write dg is equal to df dot GroupBy, and here we are going to group by using the rank, which is the level 0, and then we are going to use animal, which is level 1. And after that, when we look at g.groups, here we can see that the first group that is created after using 2 levels is 1 and cat. So 1 and cat. The second one is 3 and cat. So 3 and cat, and then 3 and dog, and 2 and dog. So all possible combinations are there. So this is how we can pull each individual group that is created by using the dot groups on the grouped object, which is G in this case. Now we can go a step further in this case, where we could also say that the grouping could be on the columns A and B rather than on the index. So if you say G is equal to df dot GroupBy and use the column names instead, and then it is g dot groups. In this case, now the groups are B and Q, so which is B and Q, so this is the last one, and then you have these columns YQ, YS, and then ZQ and ZS. So that's another way where earlier we used the multi-index, so we use the index names as groups, and in the second case we use the column names as groups. Now when using the index name, so let's go back and use this one, which is the group by using the index names. If you do that, so let's say df, and if we want to aggregate the values in numeric values in column C using the level 0, then we would type df open square brackets in code C dot group by, and here we can go ahead and specify level is equal to 0 dot sum. What this is going to do is it's going to get the sum over the level 0. So level 0 is 1, 2 and 3 in the rank index, and thus we have, for 1 we have 11, 2 and 3 in the column C, and those are added together. Sorry, we just have 11 and 2, those are added and we get 13. For 2 we have 3, so that's what we have here. And then for the group 3 we have 4 and 5, the sum of that is 9, and that's what we have here in the output. Similarly, we can also go ahead and use another methods, alternative ways to group by using multi-index data frame. So again, we'll keep the same column C for grouping, except we'll go ahead and change this to 1. So level 1 means now we are looking at the animal index. So we just have cat and dog, and when we get a sum of that, for example, for cat we have 11 plus 2, 13, 13 plus 5, that's 18, and that's what we have here in the output for cat. Moving on, in addition to specifying numbers in levels, we could also go ahead and directly specify the name. So if you specify animal for level, we'll get the same output that we got earlier when we specified level is equal to 1. In addition to these, we can also go ahead and specify more than one levels. So let's say if you want to specify both rank as well as animal, we can do that. And so here, as you can see, the output, we have both rank and animal, and we have the associated sums for 1 cat, 3 cat, and 3 dog, as well as 2 dog. So that's how we can use GroupBy on multi-index DataFrame. Now moving on, let's look at how we can combine usage of column name and index. So how we can combine the use of index and column name in GroupBy. So we'll use the same data frame df. So here, if we want to group by using the level 0, which is the rank index, and the column A, which has z, y, and b, you type df.GroupBy, and within this we want to within GroupBy parentheses, we would open and close square brackets and type pd.Grouper with a capital G, open parenthesis, level is equal to 0, close parenthesis, comma, and then within quotes we have the name of the column A, and after the parenthesis we'll type sum. So now what we have is we have used one index which is level 0, and the second one is a column which is column A. Again, as we had used earlier, instead of using a number for column, number for level, we could also go ahead and specify the name of the index. So if we specify rank, then we get the exact same output as we had before. Now there is an easier way to perform this operation of GroupBy. Instead of writing the grouper level 0 or grouper level rank, we could simply type the name of the index as we do for column names, and when we run this, it works just fine and we get the same output. So in this case, we need to remember that the rank that we have specified is index and not a column. Moving on, let's look at how we can perform a selection in GroupBy. So for selection, again, we are going to use the same data frame df, and here we'll save the grouped object in the variable g. So df.GroupBy, and here if we group by on rank and save it in ranks, then we can go ahead and look at the groups. So groups, we have the group 1 right here, and then we have the second group which is 3, and then we have the third group which is 2. And here we can now select or pick which column, which numeric column we would like to perform an aggregate on. Instead of all the columns, if we just need to pick one column, we can do that. So let's pick column C. So G underscore C. Here, if we is equal to, we use the grouped object G, and in open and close square brackets we specify the name of the column which is C, and then perform sum of that. Now in the output we see that we have a group output which is for column C only, and the output is grouped on the rank index. Okay, so that's one way to perform a group by. There is a similar output you could also get, by working the code this way. So df open close square bracket c, df of c, and then dot group by, and here we can go ahead and specify level is equal to rank, and then specify sum. So the output of this would also be the same as what we had before. Now only difference is that if you had a lot many columns, you could go ahead and create these variables if needed and then run them on this, or you could directly run them using the code shown below it. Finally, let's look at how to iterate over a grouped object, and that can be really helpful. Iterate, and we are going to use again the same data frame df. So in this data frame, let's go ahead and create a grouped object first, g. So g is equal to df dot group by, level is equal to rank, and now we know that the group objects that we have also seen previously, we know that they are 1, 3 and 2. Now we could iterate over g and print those out. So to do that, we can use the for loop. So for name and group in g, so that's on the grouped object. Here you could type anything, you could type I or j, it doesn't matter, but I'm going to use the name for group name and the actual data within it for group. So print name, so we're printing the name, and then just underline that, and then on the next line we are going to print the group. So this is going to subset of the data that is associated with that group name, and we're going to print the type of group. So this is just to check what type the data is in after we separate it out from the main data frame. So it's going to be a data frame in this case, as you will see now. And on a new line, I'm going to separate these by some backslashes. Now when we run this, as you can see, for group 1, what the GroupBy object has is the data frame with only the rows that are associated with the rank with a value of 1. And then for rank in rank 3, we have this data set where only those rows are there where the rank is 3. And finally for the group 2, we have just one row because there's only one row in the data frame df that has a rank 2. So this is how this is how the GroupBy is actually working inside. It's taking the subsets of the data frame, which is itself a data frame. So now once you have this data frame, if you want to perform any operation on this subset, you could do that. So by this method you can select pieces of the data frame within a GroupBy to perform various operations, either using aggregate statistical function, or you could also write your own functions that could perform different operation. That was it for this video. In next video we'll continue learning about GroupBy, and we'll look at some more topics in it. Please like, share and subscribe, or hit the bell icon at the bottom of this video to subscribe. I hope to see you all in the next video. Thank you.